Russia is home to some pretty creepy stories. From mermaids that will pull people down underwater before tickling them to death,
to curtains that strangle its owners to death at night. We'll be discussing these and more on today's top 10 list. Starting us off this countdown, we have the black curtains. This story will teach you to always listen to your mother. So once upon a time, there was a mother, father, little girl, and her brother. One day, the mother entrusted her daughter with a task. She told her to go to the store to buy curtains. She said, "Whatever you do, don't buy black curtains." But what did the girl do? She ended up buying black curtains and then hung them up in her home. Well, that night, the black curtains choked her father to death. The next night, they choked her mother. The following night, they choked her brother. It wasn't until all three of her family members were dead when she decided to tell the police. Like, hello, wouldn't you have told them after the first death? Anyways, the police ended up hiding out in the girl's house, and when the curtain went to choke her at night, they shot at it. The curtains let out a sharp scream and oozed out black blood, and they died. So, what can you take away from the story? Don't buy black curtains, listen to your mom, and don't wait until the last second to call the authorities.
Heading on down to number 9, we have the Baba Yaga. Before I dive in, don't forget to like this video because it really helps us out. The Baba Yaga is a scary old hag who takes children to her little wooden shack that's on these stilts, described as chicken legs. When they get there, she throws the children onto the stove to cook and eats them. In the original mythology, she would transport people from the world of the dead to the world of the living. The tale comes from a time when people being buried would be placed in houses on high stilts, which makes people believe that the Baba Yaga lived in the sanctuary of the dead. She served as a guardian of ancestral heritage and would conduct a ritual to turn a boy into a warrior. A young boy would be searching for his lost bride when he gets kidnapped by the hag. If the boy is able to pass the tests and avoid death, she will tell them how they can find their missing bride. The tests include heavy physical trials and beatings, and many boys and their mothers were afraid of her.
Moving on to number 8, we have Liha. Liha can translate to bad luck. In Russian folklore, the Liha is a creature associated with evil and misfortune. It can either appear as an old skinny woman in black with one eye, or a creepy male goblin with one eye, but it's usually the latter. So there are a bunch of different stories surrounding this creature, each with different morals. In one version, a person cheats Liha, they run away from him, then they grab something valuable like gold or money out of greed, but their hands get stuck to it, so Liha comes to cut off their hands. In another version, Liha cheats the person and hops on his neck. The person wants to then drown Liha, so he jumps into a river, but he ends up drowning and Liha floats away safely. So there are many stories and versions of Liha, all meant to scare kids and teach them different lessons.
Moving on to number 7, we have the Boginka. It is said that these female swamp demons are the souls of midwives, old maids, unmarried mothers, pregnant women who die before childbirth, or abandoned children born out of wedlock. They are depicted as these ugly, naked, limping creatures who are most dangerous for children. The creature is said to kidnap babies just after they're born and replace the child with its own children, who are called changelings. The changelings were easily recognizable with their disproportionate bodies, usually with a huge abdomen and either unusually small or large heads, a hump, and really thin arms and legs. The changelings were obviously wicked creatures and were apparently very spiteful to all the humans around them. To protect the human baby from being taken by these creatures, the mother had to tie a red ribbon around its hand, put a little red hat on its head, and shield the baby's face from the moon. If the child was kidnapped, there is a chance to get it back. The mother would have to take the changeling to an old dump, whip it with a birch twig, and pour water from an eggshell on the changeling while saying, "Take yours, give me mine back." Eventually, the creature would feel bad for her changeling and give back the human baby in exchange for the creature one.
Making our way down the list at number 6, we have the casket on wheels. And yes, it's just as horrifying as it sounds. It's legit a casket on wheels. Some of these caskets even have a propeller to help it move. So basically, this casket just roams the streets. If you do something wrong, then it will appear and haunt you. Once it starts haunting you, you are ultimately powerless. The coffin also has a voice that says things like, The coffin on wheels knows your town and is looking for your home. The coffin on wheels knows your home and is looking for your front door. The casket on wheels has already found your house and is now searching for your apartment. You get the idea. It does this to taunt you. No matter what you do, you can't escape it. The person in the story either gets dragged to hell by the coffin, mauled to death by a monster in the coffin, and then dragged to hell, or the person takes their own life. So, don't sin, or else you're gonna end up like one of those guys in hell.
In our halfway mark at number 5, we have the Russian mermaids RUSALKA. These mermaids hide at night in the lakes and riversides, waiting for people to walk by. If someone gets too close to the water, the mermaids will grab them and pull them down to the bottom where they tickle them to death. The mermaids also have a master called VOLGA, who is the spirit of water and looks like a weird frog creature thing. It is said that the master can ascend to the sky to create new bodies of water and can also drown people. The main target of him is girls who go swimming in the lakes after sunset. One of the creepiest parts about this is that he takes the prettiest girls that he drowns to be his wives.
Moving on to number 4, we have the Black Volga. This is a Russian legend that was also told to children at bedtime. But it wasn't just a popular story in Russia. No, it was also popular in Poland, Greece, and Hungary. That's how big this legend was. So during the 1960s to 1970s, there was a story going on surrounding a mysterious Black Volga that was kidnapping people, mainly kids. Eventually, people started to believe that the devil himself was driving the car. Some even say the car didn't have side mirrors. Instead, it had horns on either side. To this day, some people believe this story to be real.
Coming in at our number 3 spot, we have the KOSCHE, whose name is likely derived from the word for bone. He is basically a skeleton wrapped in very thin skin and resides in a limbo between life and death. He has magical powers and is immortal, and he usually ends up in stories with a lot of wealth. He is known for kidnapping young girls to make them his wives, which ends up leading the girl's human groom to try and battle and defeat KOSCHE in order to save her. His death is said to be at the end of the needle in an egg, the egg in a duck, the duck in a rabbit, and the rabbit in a trunk locked in chains hanging from the top of an oak tree. So basically it's not really easy to take him down. It is also said that he is blind, and in order to be able to see his enemies, he asks his servants to lift his eyelids.
And at number 2, we have the Red Piano. This is a pretty famous Russian story, and it's pretty creepy too. Basically, it surrounds this little girl that received a piano as a present for her birthday. As it was delivered, they were told that if something happens to it, only one lady in town could fix it. It was just some old random lady. Anyways, the girl was so excited to finally learn how to play. After a couple weeks of playing, the girl complained to her parents saying her fingers hurt, but they told her it was normal because she just wasn't used to playing. She kept practicing, but the more she practiced, the more she grew thinner and paler. Then after a month, the piano broke, so they called up that old lady to fix it. Now, when she arrived, she told the girl and her parents to let her fix the piano in peace. She didn't want any distractions, so she shut the door and told them to leave her alone. A little while later, the piano was fixed and the girl continued playing. But as she played daily, she continued to grow sicker and sicker. Then the piano broke again. So the lady came in again to fix it. This time, the parents were curious, so they decided to peek inside through the keyhole. And what they saw was horrifying. They saw the old lady open the piano and take out a glass jar filled with what looked like blood. Then she started to drink it. Turns out that the piano keys had tiny needles built into them, invisible to the naked eye. When the girl played the piano would cut her and drain her blood. Then the piano was designed to break when the jar was full, so that the old lady could come in and drink the blood. I know what you're thinking. How on earth is this a bedtime story?
In our number 1 spot today, we have the KIKIMORAS. KIKIMORAS are evil spirits that usually remain invisible. While these creatures live pretty much anywhere, their favorite spots are in human homes because they love to create trouble. They like to poorly spin yarn and get the wool all tangled up. If they settle into your home, they'll give you nightmares, they'll break the things in your house, and they will even bother your pets. It is said that you can protect your home from them with juniper branches and sagebrush. If a Kikimora decides to show itself to you, then you are are bound to have some misfortune come your way very soon. One way the Kikimoras travel is if a sorcerer places their spirit inside a ceremonial doll and throws it at the home of an innocent person.
Alright, and now we're moving on to our comment shoutout portion. We'll be shouting out comments from the video Top 10 Tweets That Predicted the Future.
PH Bacon Cyan Plays says, plot twist, the guy that tweeted there's going to be COVID was actually making the virus. Maybe he was.
I don't know, he was just like, COVID's gonna be soon, and then he's just like in his little lab cooking it up. I don't even know if he...
I hate that guy if that's the truth.
Orkai XD maybe commented, maybe that Lady Gaga person was actually her. Can you imagine Lady Gaga like having a fake Twitter account and be like, she's gonna release an album soon, wink wink, and it's actually her.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Night Howler commented, all I want for Christmas is Lindsay to say my name or shout out. It doesn't matter, they're the same thing. There you go, Night Howler, there's your Christmas present.
Andy Soap Chick says, love the channel. A shout out would be cool. I'd love to see someone pronounce my name right. Well, Andy, I'm really hoping that I just did that.
You got the Andy part right.
Yes, hopefully.
But Sob Chick? I feel like it's something like tricky like that.
Yeah.
So she? Maybe, well, maybe the B is like silent, you know? They're trying to trick us. So she?
Andy, whatever your last name is,
Andy!
I get the struggle.
Alright, that's all the comments we're shouting out for today's video. Make sure to comment something down below for a chance to be featured in our next comment shout out. And as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to Most Amazing Top 10 for more amazing videos. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan.
I'm Olivia Kozlovsky.
I'll see you when I see ya.
The mermaids also have a master called Vodyanoi. It is also said that he is blind, and in order to be able to see his enemies, he asks his servants to lift his eyelids. I don't want to work for that guy.
No.
Ew.
Come here. Lift the eyelids. That's why I'm imagining it.
Ew.
And just like peel it back. No.
Ooh.